So, cut update. We are down another 10 pounds. 10 pounds, I guess really it's more like 9.2 since January, probably mid-January. So that's pretty good. But I can't say all of it is fat per se. There's a lot of fluctuation when it comes to weight loss, different amounts of water and carbs. I try to keep it fairly consistent, but there's always going to be some variability there. But 9.2 pounds, that's not nothing. Pick up a 9-pound dumbbell. You can feel that. You know, if you got 9 pounds in your pocket, it's going to weigh you down. So, pretty pleased about that. I recorded a video yesterday, a yap session, and for whatever reason, it got corrupted. So when I went to edit the video and post it on YouTube, it wasn't working. So ironically enough, I was kind of discussing maybe picking up a camcorder and just kind of using that, and this is just kind of more proof that it's not a bad idea. So who knows? Maybe I will. We'll up the production quality, right? But just got done at the gym. We did hamstrings, calves, and cardio. So philosophy right now when it comes to training, especially on a deficit, is I have a pretty limited amount of energy floating around in my system, and I'd rather not half-ass, both hamstrings and quads. I'd rather whole-ass one, right? So we're alternating hamstrings one leg day, quads the next leg day, and then calves, every leg day, of course. So felt really good. I'm visiting family still. I won't be back home until Saturday. So no belt, no gear, nothing like that. I did bring my lifting straps though. Last time I traveled, I did not bring my lifting straps, and it made for a pretty poor hamstring day. I don't know. I like to go fairly heavy when it comes to RDLs. I'll either do barbell or dumbbell. And for me to get a good stretch on everything, I need to load pretty heavy. Not to the point that we're ego lifting or anything, or, I'm not going to throw out my back, but I definitely reach that limit or that line where, I'm working out my forearms almost a little more than I am my hamstrings. And I don't know, everybody has their own argument or philosophy saying like, well, if you can't pick up the weight and hold on to it for the duration of your lift, then you shouldn't be lifting that weight. And I disagree. I disagree pretty strongly about that. There's some credence to it. I get it. I see the perspective. But in my mind, I'm not training forearms today. I'm training hamstrings. Forearms has its time when it comes to the arm day. But, if the limiting factor in accomplishing a lift is a muscle group not associated with the targeted muscle, I don't see the point. I don't get it. So yeah, I will always use lifting straps for honestly a lot of lifts, man. RDLs, deadlifts, barbell rows, really any type of row. I don't see why not. Even lat pull downs. I mean, it's great. I'm trying to target a specific muscle group, so why the heck not? Everybody has their own preference. Everybody has their own training style. So if you're not into that type of thing, more power to you. You probably have bigger forearms than I do. That's another muscle group I am actively training though. So don't worry. The forearms, I've got to get a camcorder. The forearms do get a lot of love. At the gym I've been going to in Massachusetts, we have it's called the gripper machine, and it's just a little bench with some like grips parallel to each other either side, and so you hook your thumb around one side and you just pull, and you just, you do a little squeezing motion. And that's been pretty sick, man. I've been progressively overloading the gripper as much as one can. There's not a lot of muscle building going on right now. It's more of maintaining what we have. So we're doing our best. There's not going to be a lot of forearm growth right now. More just definition, if anything. So the way I see this cut going is, it's going to keep going. I'm not going to put a time limit on it or an expectation, because I've kind of fallen into that trap before. And once you reach that proposed time frame and you're not where you want to be because you underestimated, it can be a little mentally detrimental. So I don't assign any type of time. I just say, we'll get there when we do. I've been saying that for a while, and we've made a ton of progress. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, the ultimate end goal is lean enough to where I can see like full abs. Genetically speaking, I don't know what I have. I've never seen them my entire life. Even when I was a kid, I don't think I remember ever, really seeing any abs anywhere. I've always been kind of a fat kid. So statistically or ratio-wise, we're the leanest. Let me adjust this. That's a little better. We're the leanest we've ever been, which is awesome. So that's kind of the end goal. Plus, the way that I see it is, ultimately I want to compete. And to compete doesn't just mean cutting weight until I'm like shredded. That's not going to happen. I'm not going to compete probably for like 2-3 years, something like that, because I need to cut down to what I would consider a starting point. And a starting point to me is at the body fat percentage where you can see abs. Some would disagree, but that's just what I have decided. So lean out to that point, and then do a proper bulk. Nothing crazy, just eat a little bit above the maintenance calories, and then whenever we plateau, increase it a bit more. When it comes to weight gain, I have no problem picking up the fork. It does not take a lot for me to put on size, which is great, but it's only great half the time. It's great when you're bulking, when you're trying to put on size, but for a bigger guy like me, it is a double-edged sword in the sense that when you're cutting, it makes it hard to put the fork down sometimes. So it's just a lot of distraction, a lot of sugar-free substitutes. The ultimate hack to me is just drinking a ton of water. Anytime I feel peckish, just kind of drink as much water as I can until I can't. And that fills up my stomach. It pulls on all of those stretch receptors in there and turns off that signal for a bit. And then I find something to do just to keep myself busy, which I have no end of distractions these days, which is nice. So anyhow, we cut down to the point that we are seeing abs, and then the fun really begins. But maybe not as immediately as I'd like. It's not going to be just one day I wake up, I spring out of bed, and holy shit, there are abs. I can count all 8 of them. It's never going to be like that. It'll be a kind of a progressive thing. I don't really know when I will decide to stop, but I'm sure there will be a point. And then when I decide to stop, that doesn't mean, all right, time to eat 3,500 calories today. As nice as that would be, I think I would just kind of balloon back up pretty quick without any reasonable muscle gain. So the idea is to let my body adjust to that new normal. So it'll probably be, maybe a month or 2. I'm not too sure yet. The reason that I don't know is that my body has never been at that point. So I just don't know how it will react. I don't know how long it'll take. So once I get a good gauge of that, then, we've gotten comfortable, the body's used to it, metabolism's kind of reset, then we'll start kind of eating in excess. There's a lot of, back and forth about it, but it's kind of just playing around with calories when I'm at the point that I'm happy, to where, right now, I believe my maintenance calories would be somewhere around 25 to 2,700. Maybe a little more, but, conservative is fine. So let's say 2,700. So then we'll start by slowly working our way back up. Right now, I am eating 2,000 calories every day with a very specific macro spread. So once we're at the point where I kind of want to maintain things, we'll slowly increase the calories. So maybe the first week we'll eat 2,200 calories, and we'll just kind of weigh ourselves every day. And if it appears that I'm still in a deficit, eating 2,200 calories, the weight isn't going up, it's like statistically significantly going down, then we'll increase the calories again. And we'll kind of keep doing that back and forth till we hit the point where, weight went up, by a significant amount. So then I know, okay, this is the window that I have to play with. And then we'll kind of just stick it out there for a while. And then, we'll start pulling. So that'll be cool. That was kind of a tangent about ratios and whatever. But that'll be super cool. Right now, looking pretty vascular. The gym that I'm at right now, this is kind of my, this is the OG gym. If you look back at a couple of videos, this is where I'd been lifting for some time before I moved. And the lighting in the locker room is really special. My new gym does not have lighting like this, which is really unfortunate. I try not to pose too much these days, just because I'm kind of if you don't pose for a while, and then you just kind of take a look here and there, you tend to see the differences a lot more noticeably. If you pose every single day, you kind of get used to it. Every single day you're seeing yourself, so you're not noticing the changes. But if I do it once every couple of weeks, it's pretty cool to see the big reveal. I'll even avoid looking at myself in the mirror at home, about to take a shower. I just avoid it, just because it's fun to keep the surprise waiting. So yeah, things are looking pretty good. Definitely looking vascular, especially around the forearms. It's pretty cool. I've never had these types of veins where they're not spidering out or anything across here, but we do have that one really big vessel running across the arm, which is pretty sick. Especially on an arm day, I'm curling the 60s. It's kind of cool. I'm wearing a t-shirt and you can see the vascularity. So that's pretty sick. That's stroking my ego for sure. But just because we're happy with it does not mean we grow complacent, right? But final remarks. I could keep talking for hours, right? But this is something I was talking about with a guy yesterday. I was doing a site visit for work. Ended up talking to this guy about bodybuilding and how I got into it. And he asked me a question. He was like, how people in the bodybuilding scene are pretty aggressive, right? They're pretty judgmental of other people. And I was like, dude, no, it's completely the opposite, really. If you go to the right, I'm sure it exists, of course, but in the right gyms, in the right settings, you're going to a more grungy, hardcore gym, everybody is just a doll, everybody's quick to compliment, everybody's everybody's there to improve themselves and improve each other, right? That's kind of the mindset. And he'd asked me how I got into it, and I referenced my buddy Ben, if you're watching this, shout out. But way back when in college, I was very fat, and Ben would take me to the gym with him, And Ben is, dude, he is shredded. He is a bodybuilder. He is a quintessential, like, he's got the classic physique. It's insane. But he would take me with him to these lifts. I didn't know what I was doing, but I would just lift with him. And every single lift, he'd make me pose with him. And I didn't really see the point because, everything's covered up in fat. So I was just like, this is just kind of a humiliation ritual for me, is what I thought. And, he took the time to explain to me, and to teach me how to appreciate your body. Don't appreciate what you could have or what you will have. Appreciate what you have right now. And, this is you're in it for the long haul, especially if you're at a starting point where you have a pretty significant amount of body fat. It is not sustainable for you to just use self-hatred to go to the gym every day. That sucks. It's not good for the mental, So he kind of taught me that, if you go to the gym every day, you have a small victory and you celebrate that every single day. And a part of that is celebrating what your body looks like at any given time. Every day on a weight loss journey, you are looking your best. As long as you're doing everything right, you're eating the right calories, you're doing your cardio, you're working out. Every day you're looking theoretically the best you've ever been, right? So when you're posing in the mirror, you're learning to love your body. You're learning to appreciate yourself. And that is probably the most valuable lesson I've ever learned. Every time I look at myself, I've got plenty of fat around my sides, around my stomach. I've got some gyno. I am not a Wesley Vissers by any means, right? But shit, man, I still look at myself and I'm like, damn, looking good, And that's what matters. You have to appreciate yourself. I recognize that I don't look better or the best. I'm not the best looking guy, when I come into the gym. And when I say best, I mean, in the context of bodybuilding, I'm not the best looking, and I'm getting there. But I'm the best looking I've ever been, and that's enough, dude. That's fucking great. That's badass. So, I don't know. The point of this tangent is, especially for any of you that are kind of just getting into it, dude, learn to appreciate what you have. Enjoy it. This is a long journey. Get comfortable and just love yourself. That is the number one thing. I think it doesn't matter what it is that gets you into the gym. I think a lot of guys get into the gym because of heartbreak or something along those lines, some negative strain of thought is what got you into the gym, right? And that's fine. And you can use that as fuel for a bit. You can look at the texts that she sent you or something, right? But don't rely on that forever, because then you start associating negative things with the gym. Over time, learn to condition yourself into thinking dude, this is the greatest thing ever for me. That's what I did. And I'm pretty happy. So yeah, that's enough said. Time for me to get home. I got some work I'd like to do. Technically, I'm off today because of some celebrations happening today and tomorrow, but duty calls, and who am I to reject the duty? So, yep. See you guys.